December 2005. San Francisco Bay. A team of divers is in the water. Cold water. Zero visibility. And somewhere ahead of them in the dark, a humpback whale. 15 meters long. Nearly 50 tons. Tangled in over 500 meters of crab trap lines and rope. Wrapped around its flippers, its tail cutting into its skin. The divers approach with knives. And then the whale does something no one expected. It goes completely still. For over an hour. It even rotated its body, slowly, deliberately, positioning itself so the divers could reach the worst tangles. The question isn't whether this happened. There are eyewitnesses. There's footage. The question is, what was happening inside that brain? A brain shaped by millions of years of evolution to avoid exactly this. A large creature approaching fast in the dark. What changed? That's what we're finding out today. And the answer will change the way you think about every animal encounter you've ever watched online. Every wild animal's brain runs a threat assessment system. Constantly. No pause button. No off switch. It processes three things simultaneously: speed of approach, direction of movement, and eye contact pattern. Fast approach, direct line, locked gaze. That's a predator. The brain doesn't debate it. It sends a signal before conscious thought even activates. This isn't a choice. This is millions of years of genetic programming. Animals that hesitated didn't make it. Animals that ran first, reasoned later, survived, reproduced, passed on the reflex. So when something large approaches a trapped animal, the brain launches a specific cascade. Freeze, flight, fight, and finally, tonic immobility. Tonic immobility is the last resort. Involuntary paralysis. The animal goes limp, not from calm, but from complete neurological override. Heart rate drops. Pain response dims. The body plays dead not as a strategy, but because the threat system has maxed out. Now here's where it gets interesting. Tonic immobility isn't just found in birds or fish or rabbits. It's documented in virtually every vertebrate class. Mammals, reptiles, amphibians, insects, fish, and here's the part the textbooks skip: it happens in humans too. Survivors of traumatic assault often describe an inability to move, to scream, to run. Afterwards, they sometimes blame themselves. Why didn't I fight back? Because tonic immobility is not weakness. It's the oldest survival mechanism on Earth, inherited by every vertebrate alive. The same circuit that locks a rabbit when a hawk dives, locks a human brain under extreme threat. Same ancient code, different context entirely. So now we know what the cascade looks like. The question is, why does it sometimes stop? Why do some animals mid-cascade pause and then let the humans work? A predator moves fast, direct, eyes locked on target. Every movement is toward the prey. A rescuer does the opposite. Slow, hesitant, eyes on the trap, not the animal. Hands reach for the rope, the net, the wire. The brain's threat library has been updated over 50 million years. It has entries for every predator this lineage has ever encountered. It does not have an entry for large creature approaching slowly, holding sharp object, focused on the thing wrapped around my tail. So the survival optimization system does something fascinating. When it can't predict, when no pattern matches, it shifts into data gathering mode. Hold still, observe, collect more information before committing to a response. This is not trust. This is not domestication. This is the brain buying time when its pattern library comes back empty. The humpback whale's brain searched its entire 50 million year threat database. No match. Honestly, same. Now, not all animals respond the same way to rescuers. Some cooperate more actively. Some, like the whale in 2005, seem to actually facilitate the process. Why those animals specifically? In 2009, neuroscientist John Allman at Caltech identified von Economo neurons in over 100 species, but only a handful have them in meaningful concentrations. Humans, great apes, elephants, humpback whales, orcas, bottlenose dolphins. VNs are located in the frontoinsular cortex, associated with rapid intuitive decisions in complex social situations. Empathy, social awareness, reading other individuals' intentions. Humpback whales have approximately 28,000 VNs in that region. Elephants, 19,000. Now here's the part that stopped me entirely. These exact neurons, same type, same brain region, same function, are the first cells destroyed by frontotemporal dementia in humans. FTD patients progressively lose empathy, social awareness, the ability to read other people's emotional states. Same cell, same location, same function, in the species that appears most frequently in the most remarkable rescue stories. That is not a coincidence. Between 1952 and 2014, Robert Pittman at Oregon State documented 115 instances of humpback whales intervening when orcas attacked. 115. Over 62 years. Not just protecting other humpbacks. Also seals, sea lions, a sunfish, a gray whale calf that had already been killed. At first, researchers thought it was mistaken identity. The whale dives in before recognizing the target, a reflex that spills over beyond its intended species. But then Pittman analyzed the footage carefully. Some of these whales continued protecting after they'd clearly seen what they were protecting. They kept going. As of 2026, there is no fully satisfying scientific explanation for this. A 50-ton animal moved toward a predator it didn't need to face to protect a species it had never encountered in its evolutionary history. That's not instinct. That's not a glitch. Science doesn't have a word for it yet. Here's the most uncomfortable fact in this video. Scientists routinely use rats and mice to study human anxiety and depression. The entire field of psychiatric pharmacology is built on the assumption that rodent psychological states are similar enough to human psychological states that results transfer. That assumption is accepted. It funds billion-dollar drug trials. But when someone suggests that perhaps a whale's response after rescue might involve something functionally similar to what humans call relief, the scientific community reaches for the word anthropomorphism. Jessica Pierce of the University of Colorado calls this a profound double standard in science. You cannot use animal emotional states as a model for human conditions, and then refuse to consider the reverse. In 1759, over a century before Darwin wrote about animal emotions, economist Adam Smith wrote that animals are capable of feeling those sensations. 265 years later, we're still debating it. Franz de Waal documented nearly 7,000 primate interactions to confirm one finding. Chimpanzees share food specifically with the individual who just groomed them. Not randomly. Directed. Personal. Requires memory and relationship tracking. He called it proto-gratitude. Not gratitude. Proto-gratitude. The distinction matters. Because de Waal was careful. He said, we can observe behavior that functions like gratitude. Whether the subjective experience matches what humans call being grateful, that's a different question. And science is not there yet. The whale in San Francisco Bay, after it was finally free from 500 meters of rope, didn't swim away immediately. It swam slowly around the divers. One by one, Nan Hauser, a cetacean researcher with 28 years of experience, who was herself pushed to safety by a humpback whale in 2017, said, I'm a scientist, and if anyone told me this story, I would not have believed it. She believed it because she lived it. So here's the real question, and it's not about the whale. If the species with the largest relative brain size, the most advanced language, and the only planetary scale civilization, if we're still debating whether other complex creatures have inner lives, what does that say about us? The humpback whale that lay still for over an hour while strangers with knives moved around its body, that whale had no framework for what was happening, no prior experience, no evolutionary precedent, no instruction manual. It simply waited, observed, and when it needed to, adjusted. Maybe that's not gratitude. Maybe it's not even close to what we mean by that word. But the next time you watch footage of a wild animal going quiet in human hands, remember, something in that brain recognized a pattern it had never seen before and chose to stay. That question has kept scientists and philosophers talking for 265 years. I think it'll keep going a while longer.